Hi, it's Cynthia here, and I'm going to show you how to bind your journal pages together to create an actual journal. Let's get started. I'm going to flash over to my work surface so you can see the supplies you'll need. You will need a glue stick. You will need your loose journal pages, okay? You will need some string, and you will need a poking device. I'm using this. You could possibly use a very, very sharp pencil as well, okay? And you will need paper spines. I'm going to show you how to make these paper spines very, very easily, okay? So let's get started. To make the paper spines, I start off with a 9.5-inch by 12-inch piece of paper. That's the size we usually use in our art journaling workshops. I cut this equally into 4 pieces. So if I cut this into 4 pieces, oops. By the way, I'm using this green colored paper for my demonstration so that you can easily see when I apply my spines in the video, because the white on white, in other words, white spines on the white paper tend to be difficult to see, okay? So for the video, I'm showing this with green color. Anyway, so what I did is I cut my journal page in half first, and then I cut that in half, and then I cut that in half. So it's 4 equal parts, okay? So I end up with these 4 equal parts. Let's take this one away. All right, then I take each of these parts and I fold them in half long ways. The paper is a little bit thicker, so you really kind of have to grab it firmly as you're folding. You really have to force it into place. Okay, and I make my 4 folds. Now, the number of spines really just depends on the number of journal pages that you have, that you're working with, that you're going to be attaching together. And once you finish watching my tutorial, it will make more sense how to go about calculating how many spines you need. So I'm going to set these aside for right now. Okay. And I'm going to start with 1 spine, and I'm going to lay it so that the folded part, okay, this inside, I'm calling it the inside of the fold, is facing up, okay? And so I lay it down and I go ahead and press it so it stays open a little bit more. And I'll be working right now with just the right half of this spine, only the right half, okay? And it's the inside. So if it's folded again, you can see I'm talking about this here, right half and inside, okay, of the fold. So I'm going to set this back down. I'm going to grab my glue stick and I'm going to apply glue. Here's where it's important to really get those edges and corners really well with the glue. Notice I'm only applying it on the right side, again, right half of this spine. Lots and lots of glue. This is super important so that your pages stay attached. All right, I'm going to bring over one of my pages and I'm going to set that page only on that right half where I just put the glue. Okay, line it up so I can see. Sometimes it can help to kind of go ahead and bend your spine upward like this again. Okay, so you can make sure that you get your page really nestled into that fold. You want to get it really lined up into that fold. So if I turn it this way, you can kind of see how my page is lining up. There we go. And so you'll notice that you have this extra half hanging off, right? We're going to leave it that way for now. Let's go ahead and press really well. Make sure you press all of these. And here's where I just noticed that my page isn't all the way nestled into the fold, so I have time before my glue dries to just lift it up and reposition, okay? And I come back and press and rub really well. You want your page to attach to your spine really, really well. Okay, so now I have this extra piece of spine hanging off. And what I want to do is I'm going to fold it. Make sure you fold it. I'm creasing it even further right now, like this, by going back and forth, up and down. And you're going to want to go ahead and fold it over your page like this. Press it really well so it stays folded. And just so you know, each spine can hold 2 pages. So we're going to attach our pages 2 by 2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and take my glue stick and apply glue here on the top surface. Okay, like this, which is actually the outside of the left half. Okay, in case that is a question. Got lots of glue applied here. Now to the surface, I'm going to take another page. I think I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place it right on top of that part of the spine that I just applied glue. And I want to try to line it up, line all the edges up really well. I don't want any part of the spine to be showing once I finish gluing this. And I'm pressing and rubbing, making sure that everything gets attached really well. So let's take a look now at where this page is. So see, this page got attached on the outside of the spine, while if I open this up, you can see it. There we go. There's that left half of the spine, right? And then this page got attached on the inside of the spine. So let me turn it this way so you can see it a little bit. So if my spine was folded, see how it's folded, right? This page got attached on the inside, okay? So when I close these and I press really, really hard, like this, rub really well, okay? I now have 2 pages attached together, okay? Now what I have done is only attach 2, and if I have more pages, I have to follow this process once again with my next set of pages, okay? I already have another 2 that I have attached together. So I have these 2 attached, okay, here that I'm holding up, and I have these 2 attached, the ones that I just did with you, okay? And now I have to decide which of these do I want to show up as my front page, my front cover. I think what I would love to do is have this one be my front cover. So what I'm going to do is open it like a folder, take my next set of pages, place it inside, and if I had another set of pages, I would also open this one like a folder and place the next 2 inside, and so on and so forth. So the idea is that we want them all like this, nested inside of each other, okay? All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this all back up, line all the edges up really well, okay? Press everything here in the spine area so it's really glued. And here's where we begin actually attaching our sets of pages. And here's where we'll need string, and we'll need this kind of a poking device, okay? All right, and the way we do this is we're going to open up our book, okay? It's not attached yet, but it is now in a form of a book. And we're going to go to the very center, wherever the center is. So I only have here 2 sets of pages, but if you have more, make sure you keep opening it up all the way till you get to the very center. While you're holding everything together, and this is where you might need a second pair of hands. Okay, it could be a little tricky. I like to set everything down like this on the surface of the table while I'm making sure that everything has been lined up. I actually take my left hand and I place it in back here to support the pages. And I take my right hand, or if you are left-handed, you might want to reverse this order. But I take this tool and I'm going to just estimate an area up above here where I'm going to press like this and turn. And on the back, I'm just supporting it like this while I'm pressing and turning, okay? Now, also you wanna make sure that, be aware that if you're using a very, very sharp instrument, that you don't go through and you don't hurt yourself, okay, when it does finally poke through. So you can see here, I've twisted and I've pushed, and now my tool is poking through, and I'm mindful of that with my fingers, making sure that I leave space so that the tool has room, see, to pass through like this in between my fingers, okay? And I'm not hurting myself. And what I've done is I've now, there we go, installed one hole, and we just need one more. All we really need are 2 holes. You could add more if you want to and get really fancy with it, but actually it's not necessary. It really works well with just 2 holes. So here goes again, I'm twisting, pushing through to the other side, and now I've gone through a second time, and here's my second hole, okay? Now I'm gonna go ahead and go a little further just to kind of make my hole a little bit larger, since this tool is tapered, and so it's thinner, as you can see on one end, and if I push further in, it gets me to that kind of wider area so that I can make a little bit of a bigger hole, and I'm gonna come do that up here at top as well. Okay, so I have 2 holes here. It's time to add the string, and I like to do this by just laying it here in the middle and taking one end and placing it here near that top hole. Take your tool, and you can actually do this part with a pencil as well, or a pen, and basically you're just going to push the end of that string through the hole, okay? And if you do that on the other side, you should be able to pull it out like this a little bit. Okay, here's what it looks like actually from this angle. Okay. All right, I'm going to set that down. I won't pull too much because I still need length over here. Okay, for this hole, for the bottom hole. So I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom hole. I'm going to place the end of the string, or the bottom end of the string there near the hole. Take a tool like the one we used to make the holes, or you could take a pencil or a pen, and you're just going to push that through. And this part can give you a little bit of a hard time, so you just have to have some patience, but it will work. Okay, just keep trying. There we go, I finally got it. And I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to grab the end of that string, and I'm just going to pull through. And sometimes the string gets bunched up on the inside. That's what's happening with mine right now. Just grab your tool and just kind of, there you go. It's like you're stuffing it. You're taking the end of the tool and you're really just stuffing it. There we go, stuffing the string through the hole. Now I have all the rest of my string, there we go, able to come out freely. I'm gonna take these 2 ends. I wanna line up these 2 ends, and I wanna pull the string equally so that, there we go, so that I've pulled it taut, so I have equal amount of string exposed on the outside. Okay, see that? And on the inside, my string is pulled nice and tightly. There's no slack, okay? All right, now that it's nice and tight, I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna double knot it. So I'm gonna try, and this is where also it might be helpful to have a second pair of hands. So, you know, maybe working with someone else, if they're also working on binding theirs, can be helpful. But you're gonna tie 1 knot, and then you're gonna come and you're gonna tie a second knot, make it real tight. And now you end up with this extra, okay? You can leave the extra there in the middle, or you can try sliding it by just holding, I just hold the top edge and I kind of pull downward a little bit, okay? You can do that. If eventually you'll get there. What's happening, I'm noticing though on mine, is that when I try to do that, if I'm not careful, it's going to tear into my page, my binding, and it's actually going to move the string from the hole where I originally put it, bring it down further. So be careful with that. Okay, so I'm gonna instead just leave mine where it is. If that happens, you might be able to untie. I think I'm gonna work on just untying mine a little bit. Okay, and retying now that it got loose. Okay, just take your time. Binding can be, you know, the first time you do this, it can be a little tricky, but soon you kind of learn and you get the feel for the way it works and you know what to look out for, and it comes much more easily. So there, I retied mine so that it stays nice and taut again. So it's, there we go. It's pulled tight in the middle and it's pulled tight on the outside. If you like, you can trim these, okay, or you can leave them long. You can even add beads or any other decorations later if you want to. So this is our now bound journal, okay, and here we go. One other tip, if you end up with an odd number of pages, in other words, you don't have enough pages to be able to add on an entire set. And so let's say that you end up with just one glued on here, or you could glue it here to the outside. You could go ahead and attach another blank page like this to complete your pair. All right, and that way you have a way to be able to attach all of the pages that you've made. You can also use this technique strategically so that it ends up being the front cover, and then you have a way to create a specialized cover for your journal. So you can plan ahead that way as well. Notice that as I was placing my pairs of pages into my journal, or to bind my journal together, I kind of gave some thought to what order I wanted the pages to be in. So you could use a finished journal page as your cover, or you can use a blank paper that you also bind onto it as your cover. And you can also make sure that you're thinking about what order your pages are bound in. All right, I hope that that helps for you to understand how to bind your pages. Once again, you will need papers that you have cut and folded to create spines. You will need some string, maybe some scissors to cut your string. You're going to need a glue stick, and you'll need a very sharp or pointy device to push through the binding to create the holes that the string passes through. All right, I'm going to switch back here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for having participated in our programs, and thank you for your help to assemble all of these pages. Have a great day.